This is essentially a local scene. The Dallas Police Department responding. We are told that FBI agents have been sent to the scene, as they often are in these kinds of situations. But again, just to recap, ICE spokesperson confirming that 2 of 3 people shot in the facility are dead. The third is in the hospital. They're saying that no ICE officers were hurt. The Dallas Police Department said this shooting occurred at about 6:40 a.m. local time, and they're saying that the 3 people shot are ICE detainees, and that the shooter died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. That's not in addition to the 3 people who were shot. Of course, this is still fluid. We're still gathering information about this. It's important to note a DHS spokeswoman had said that this facility has been the target of a previous bomb threat, and authorities are saying they don't yet have information about a motive. But of course, ICE facilities and ICE officers, as we know, have been targeted by violence. We all remember that nearly a dozen people equipped with tactical gear and weapons attacked an ICE detention facility in Alvarado, Texas, on July 4th, and a local law enforcement officer was shot during that attack. 10 people have been charged in that incident. On July 7th, a man shot at a Border Patrol facility in McAllen, Texas, authorities say. And there have been a number of attacks on individual ICE officers. For example, in August, DHS says 15 to 20 people in San Francisco grabbed, punched, and pepper sprayed ICE officers. And DHS is saying that ICE officers in general have experienced a 700% surge in assaults in recent months.
Security
and again,
says that
still
before
trying to
7 a.m.,
motive,
a sniper started shooting from a nearby rooftop and fired indiscriminately at the ICE facility, including a van that was in the Sallyport. DHS says 3 detainees in that van were shot, and at least 1 of the detainees was killed. The gunman then turned the gun on himself. Officials say no ICE agents were hurt. The FBI, though, shared pictures of rounds found right near that shooter with anti-ICE engraved on those shell casings. This is the latest in a string of targeted attacks on ICE facilities right here in Texas. At the same facility, a man was arrested for making a bomb threat last month. Then in July, a group ambushed officers outside a separate Texas ICE facility.
Shalom.
1 officer was shot and survived.
All praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakor Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders at Great Millstone. Shalom to the whole full elect. So you have the sniper in Dallas who shot up a ICE facility. All right. And you know ICE is running around gathering, all right, arresting, deporting so-called Latins, really, you know, the tribe of Issachar, you so-called Mexicans. All right. And you have, you know, more resistance, all right, from the people. All right. This guy isn't necessarily of the tribes. You know, I don't know if they've found him yet, but he doesn't have to necessarily be of the tribes committing this act, because, you know, Esau is rising up against Esau. They fighting within, all right. The nation of Edom has a lot of infighting, you know, amongst themselves as far as, you know, political alliances and all these different beliefs that you're allowed to have in America, all right. But this is just another example of the sedition among men, this uprising against this power structure, man. All right, you have a lot of people, you know, who have a problem with this ICE group organization, you know, whatever it is, that are taking one side, and you have people who are for it. You know, I believe ICE is just like a job you can apply for. You can just be a random person, you know, regardless of your background. And I don't believe you really have to have a background in law enforcement or anything like that. You can just apply. You know, if you don't like, you know, what you call a Mexican, all right, the so-called Mexican, you can just apply to, you know, hop out of vans and whoop niggas' asses. You know, throw a Mexican, what you call a Mexican, which is Mexicans or Israelites, tribe of Issachar. But you can just throw their ass in the back of a van, beat them up, and send their ass back to Mexico. You know, this is just a regular job you can apply for. So I say that to speak to the infighting amongst the people. You have people who are for it. You have people who are against it. And of course, one of these people who are against it, you know, had a sniper rifle and shot up one of the facilities. In one of the clips that I put up, you see that it says the bullets were engraved with the words anti-ICE. You know, so obviously this is somebody who has a problem with the rounding up of the tribe of Issachar, man, as well as you know, other tribes too, other Latin tribes too. You know, and you Negroes, they're gonna start busting your head soon. Probably throwing your ass out the country, man. All right. It's a war going on within in this place, man. All right. But Second Esdras 15:15, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. And the sword, the modern day sword, is the gun. And America is the land of the gun. There is guns all everywhere, all over the place. And some of these be, you know, high-powered type of machine guns. You know, as this individual had to shoot up this facility. And this is only going to intensify. All right. When you look at this news every day, is something. All right. This place is circling the drain. It's always some type of protest, some type of fighting in the street, gunfire in the street, an opposing side to some ideology. You know, mainly it'd be Democrat, Republican. It's always some type of fighting amongst the people. That's how you know this place is falling. It's nothing but chaos and confusion in this place, which is going to lead to more violence and more war amongst the people. For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. All right, because eventually this is going to turn into, you know, what you call a race war. And you see the makings of it. I seen you had the Trump supporters. I just seen this today, what they call the Trump supporters, the far right people, went to a HBCU. You know, and there's nothing they could be going there for other than trying to start a fight. Because you know, Negroes, especially Negroes, is aligned with the Democratic Party. So they go out there and they set their tables up just to cause conflict. You know, and that conflict is going to turn violent. You know, this is the first day I seen it, and I don't believe any violence happened as of yet. But, you know, Jake get riled up and somebody going to swing on somebody, man. Which is going to further intensify this white right-wing hatred for the left after the unaliving of Charlie Kirk. You know, I remember, you know, after Charlie Kirk got shot, the first thing those right-wing people did was start calling HBCUs and threatening them, like bomb threats and everything. And as we seen, the guy that shot him wasn't even a Jake. Well, barring him being an Israelite foreigner, but to the eye of the average American, he's a so-called white man. But they still looked at him and said, this is somehow got to do with niggas. Let's get them. You know, so going back to the right-wingers showing up to those HBCUs, that's only going to cause more conflict. That's going to lead to more violence, you know. For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. All right, sedition among men. You see that every single day in America. It's always some uprising against this government, huh? Whether it be Israelites, whether it be the other nations, all right, that's in this land, or Esau himself. And, you know, the Edomites rising up against their own political system. This prophecy is happening. You know, I feel like I've done like 10 videos in the past 2 weeks just saying the same thing. All right, this is happening. This is sedition among men, you know, and you seeing this around the world as well. You know, you have a lot of people in a lot of countries. There's always some big ass protest or the people having some problem with their power structure, you know, and that's the spirit of Yahweh Shem Shah. All right, because everybody's power structure, they're gonna get what they want. Your power structure will be reformed by the elect. You know, the elect gonna get put in power. The hopeful elect gonna get put in power. All right, but that's how you know this man's system is not working in all lands, because Esau really runs all lands. You know, it's not working, and there's a need for new rulership, which will be established on the earth. Yahweh Shem Yahushai is going to give rulership of the earth to the hopeful elect. All right. For there shall be sedition among men and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes. Nobody regards the rulership of this place. The kings or the princes, the people who are put in power. All right. Anything that's anything like a power structure, the people disrespect and spit on it. Police, government. The people are unruly in this place. All right. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their own power. Are you seeing this? A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. That's martial law. You see the police being militarized, man. You know, and being and becoming more violent with the people, like ICE. They just hop out the back of the van and whoop niggas' ass. That's the method. You just hop out the van and put them in a headlock, put them in a full Nelson, whatever move you got to do to throw them in the back of a van, and we drive their ass to the border, or however they do that. And then you got the military in the street. I believe Chicago I think Chicago. I don't know if they went to Chicago. I know they had some presence, but it wasn't as major as it was made to sound. Memphis, you go to Memphis, I heard he said Texas. You know, the military will be walking up and down your street, being the new police. All right, Trump is turning everything federal, you know, and the people will go continue to buck against it, for there shall be sedition among men. All right. Sedition is an incitement of resistance to or insurrection against lawful authority, that lawful authority being the government. All right. They have no respect for their own government anymore. All right. The act of treating someone or something as unworthy of regard or notice. The state of being disregarded. What's being disregarded? The power structure, the rules of the power structure is being disregarded by these folks, man. And it will continue to be, because this is the spirit that Yahweh Bashem Yahushua has put on the people. All right. But I ain't gonna hold you. I hope that video was edifying. Shalom.